Hi, welcome to the Watercooler. I'm Rick Dancer. This is Jack Tripp, the Executive Director of the Eugene Mission. We are inside the Eugene Mission to talk about homelessness in Lane County. Room. This is the day room. Jack, you were saying something that I think everybody should hear. You operate basically the largest mental hospital in the area.
Yeah, I mean, one of the key issues for homelessness is the fact that so many of the homeless are mentally ill in various shapes or form. And a lot of that has to do with, across the country, with closing down mental health facilities in the late 70s and early 80s. And right now, the mental health capabilities of this county as well as the country is so limited that a lot of times those individuals that can't be served end up at a homeless shelter or worse, in jail.
How many of the folks, do this for me, how many people are here and how many of those folks would you guess would qualify as mentally ill?
Right, so we've put a cap of 360 on the amount of guests that can stay here at night. We have about another 250 that use the day facility, so that's about 610. Of those, I've estimated about 90% have some sort of mental health issues, from either just mild depression all the way up to schizophrenia and multiple psychosis, etc.
So what is your biggest concern? Because obviously we're doing this, we're seeing a lot with sleeps, we're seeing a lot of organizations downtown, protests, people are frustrated on both sides of this issue. What do you say to folks out there watching going, what is homelessness?
Yeah, and I will actually, because we're a Christian organization, I'll go to the Bible and just say one quick thing. In Psalm 131 it says, don't get involved in things that are too big for you. And I literally say this is something that's too big for all of us, because we use this term homelessness, but when you start actually serving in this community, you find out that it's a one-on-one relationship and that each one of the guests that come through our door have such a different background that in very much cases is so traumatic. So you're dealing with an issue that's so complicated and so difficult. And for Eugene, especially in Oregon, and I just read this, that Oregon has the largest per capita amount of homelessness of any state in the country. In Oregon, it's particularly an issue, and for Eugene, there's literally anywhere from 1,800 to 4,000 homeless people, depending on the count that you take, and if you include couch surfers and the rest of it. It's just in sheer numbers, it's overwhelming.
What does it cause from? Everybody wants to have their say and say, well, people need to get a job, they need to be working, they need to toughen up. What do you say when people say that to you?
Yeah, and you know, the cause I can't really say. I mean, there's so many theories and so many issues. Some of it has to do with the economy. And for instance, those that are called situationally homeless, that are homeless for a short period of time, we'll see that 10% come through the mission. I lost my job. I'm a single mom, I lost my job. They get a new job and they move on. For the chronically homeless, which is the majority of people we see at the Eugene Mission, it is just a multitude of issues, of which includes mental health, includes physical health, and it just includes the economy as well. So it's sort of an entire package. But the one thing I will say is it's tough a lot for us who may have somebody defecate on your front door, may tear up your lawn, etc., to be loving and kind when you see this. But I have been shamed, because every time I start thinking that way, I then sit down and talk to the individual, and I find out that there's such a traumatic background.
Tell me those stories, because that's the thing I think we're not getting with this whole debate, is because we get lost in the public relations of it, or the screaming and and we feel, I think the general population feels like, oh, I can't deal with this anymore. Right. The stories of the people you're seeing are heartbreaking.
Yes, they are, and a lot of them are very much in the same genre as a guy I talked to literally yesterday morning, who came into my office to discuss an issue that he just wanted to talk to me about. It's for a new life change program that we have. And he was thinking about joining it. And it's a year-long program that takes a look at the whole person, and with the goal of having them have a job and housing when they get out. So I had been talking to this fellow for a number of months, and never, just little chit-chat here and there, and it seems like at the mission, you'll latch on to a particular guest, and a guest will latch on to you. Maybe I remind him of a brother or a father or something. So we start talking and start breaking the ice in my office. And, you know, after a couple of minutes, he came down and he just said, I got to tell you something. And I said, okay, go ahead. And I'll call him Dennis. It's not his name. And he said, what I want to tell you is this, and I've never told anybody else, is my father sexually molested me for 15 years. And it just stops you in your track to start saying, okay, what would I have been like had that happened to me? And then he said the next thing, which was even more dramatic for him, which is, and then I went ahead and did it to somebody in my family as well. And what it all comes down to for me, and I'll just say me personally being in this, is forgiveness, which is why it's so important that this is a Christian organization, because in the end what you find are the individuals are stuck in their homelessness because they can't forgive those that did such evil to them.
Now let me ask you something. That's one of the criticisms. I don't want to go to the mission because you have to do the church thing, but that's really not. You've relaxed that a little bit.
Absolutely. I went through the Bible and tried to find a place in the Bible where Jesus said, "I'm going to force you to listen to what I'm telling you, to eat and sleep." And by golly, I couldn't find it.
He doesn't say that very much.
No, he didn't say it. And so what we did is it's gone to voluntary chapel, where at 7 o'clock at night, all through the 3 different centers, 90 blessed churches each month support us. And what's happened is an amazing thing. Those that want to go to chapel go, and the chapel speakers have told me it's so much better, because instead of having individuals that hate what they're hearing and actually causing a negative influence on others, people are going that want to hear, and it's a blessing. And then for the others, they can be in this day room, just calm and peaceful for an hour, just thinking about their day.
Do this for me. What should, and be really honest if you would,
I will.
What should people like me do? What do we, and be honest, what do we need to do?
Here's what you need to do, and it's both for you and for the homeless. If you have a heart for helping those, whether you're a Christian or not, supporting the Eugene Mission, supporting the other agencies in town that serve the homeless are what you should be doing, because all of them, for the most part, and I'll say the Eugene Mission, almost 90 cents of every dollar goes directly to our guests when you donate here. That's the thing to do if you want to make an impact.
And that would solve some of the problem.
It would, in the sense that, as I'm going to talk about just right now we're serving 360 a night because my budget at $2.1 million is all we can handle from a staffing standpoint. So we have 25 staff, 24/7, 365 days a year. We need another $427,000 a year to increase our staff, so instead of housing 360 a night, we can house 510, which is really probably what we could do here if we stuck people in nooks and crannies here.
So it really is about being quiet a little bit and looking at people a little differently.
Absolutely.
And the situation, and most of all, we can't sit on our hands anymore. People can't just gripe about it. It takes money to solve some of these problems.
It does, and I also say, and hey, I own a house in town too as well, knowing that the Eugene Mission is housing, we hope in the future, 510 people. It's better they're here than out in your neighborhoods, possibly doing things that aren't positive during the evening. So part of it is just, is for the safety of the community as well as being in loving and kind as well.
All right, Jack Tripp, thanks for helping set us a little bit straight. I appreciate it, and I can't say any more.